What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Qualiaverse. Sorry it took so long for me to make this video. There's a lot of life happening since the last one I uploaded, but I'm here, and today we'll be talking about if a matrix is inherently bad. One thing you should know about me is I hate thinking of things as good or bad. I think it's very reductionist and can be misleading. And I think in reality, things tend to be rich, complex, have elements of good and bad, and can exist on a wide spectrum of morality. Overall, I think reality is amoral, or morality is relative to your position, relative to the things you care about, relative to your species, relative to what's going on currently, etc., etc. So the idea of even calling something bad is not really in my wheelhouse of things I like to do or the way I like to analyze things. I also think if something exists, it exists on purpose, and if we just start labeling things as bad and that they shouldn't exist, it's kind of like out of alignment with reality, because like, well, it's here for a reason. If you don't like it, like, figure out something to do with it instead of just saying that's bad, it should not be, or how to change it, how to evolve it, how to heal it, whatever. But anyway, that kind of gives you a hint into my answer for, is a matrix inherently bad? No. Matrices can exist on the entire spectrum of good and bad. They can be beautiful, gorgeous, blissful, orgasmic, or they could be hellish. And I think essentially what a matrix is a kind of container for reality. I mean, I think of reality as infinite and ineffable and undefinable, paradoxical, but we do see form everywhere we look. We are ourselves a kind of form that reality flows into. And so I think a matrix is essentially a form for reality, and it is self-creating and created by humans. So you could think like before humans existed on this planet, there was a matrix. It wasn't necessarily based on internet or as technological, but there was a matrix. There was a form that all of the life forms fit into, ecosystems, a way that the earth functioned with cycles and relationships with bigger and smaller things, hierarchies, etc. That matrix, I would say, wasn't inherently good or bad. I think it was just kind of existing. There was some animals that were on the bottom of the food chain and kind of got the short end of the stick, and there was other animals that perhaps thrived more. Some things went extinct, other things didn't, etc., etc. But here we are in this current matrix that we could paint as bad because there's a lot of abusive aspects to it. But a matrix itself isn't necessarily inherently bad, and this matrix that we're living in is flexible. We all contribute to it. We all help to create or uphold it. And if any of us are unsatisfied or frustrated with the current matrix, we can do something about it. We can change it. We are a part of the matrix, all of us. The way we do everything, the way we get up in the morning, the way we talk to each other, the way we use our phones, the way we use social media, what we do with our money, all contributes to or changes the matrix. So I think thinking of, before we say is a matrix good or bad, inherently good or bad, we should also think, is our contribution to the matrix inherently good or bad? You might feel like a victim in some sense, but if you examine yourself and you ask yourself, well, do I continuously and consistently try to improve myself? Do I try to reduce my carbon footprint? Do I try to spread the word about serious issues going on right now? Do I put my money towards things I believe in, or continue to vote for abusive corporations with my dollars, etc., etc.? Then it kind of puts you in the hot seat, and you may not want to answer that question dualistically, good or bad. You might say, well, my matrix is complex. I know I'm not doing everything right, but I have a good intention, etc., etc. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from with this question. Is a matrix inherently bad? I think talking about matrices is a very sort of meta discussion because it's so inclusive. Like, a matrix is complex because a matrix can end up feeling like your entire reality, like bottom up, like matrix exists all the way at the level of atoms, all the way up to ourselves and our internet and the way we communicate and the way we're globally connected. But I would like to think of a matrix as, like I said, a container where reality is infinite and expansive, then only so much of it can flow into this matrix, or maybe somehow all of it flows into the matrix, or both, or it's fuzzy. But that doesn't mean there's no more reality left outside of that matrix. Perhaps there are multiple matrices in this world, and there's one that we think of as the matrix, and then there's other ones that are more invisible, and there's ones that are growing, and there's ones that are dying, and then there's infinite reality to fill all of them as we choose how they're filled. And so I think thinking about, is a matrix good or bad, comes down to the question of form and intention. So obviously a matrix is a certain form or structure that reality fits into, but the purpose of a form is to carry through a certain intention. So I guess a better question to ask could be, is this current form of the matrix that we exist in intentionally carrying through the purpose of reality? I think that better asks the question, not necessarily is it good or bad, but is this matrix effective for carrying through the intentions of reality? And that brings us to, what is the intention of reality? Which probably explains why our matrix sucks so bad, because maybe as a species we don't really understand reality that much, or as much as we think we do. And reality may have more to do with things we can't see or touch or measure than things we can. And if we are locked into this mindset of focusing so much on what's external and what's material, maybe we have a matrix that is imbalanced and spends too much energy making forms related to how we use material, instead of making forms related to how we evolve what is invisible about us, or what is invisible about reality. So I think if I use the metaphor, for example, let's say reality was an artist and reality wanted to make an art piece, and the art piece was called Earth. And reality is trying to figure out, how should I create Earth? And if reality thought, well, I guess I'm primarily different beings on this planet, the resources and materials the beings use, and then my form needs to organize how this material will keep helping the beings survive, etc., etc. And so we make a form. So reality makes a form kind of like how we have now. And then they realize, oh shit, there's such this focus on material, and there's certain beings that are selfish, so they want to hoard material, and now the other beings are suffering. And reality scratching his head like, is material all I am? Or is there souls involved in these beings? Or is there souls involved in the earth? Is there souls involved in the planetary system? Is there a spiritual activity going on in this existence of earth, and not just a material one? And reality might say, well, this matrix needs to not just be materially based. This matrix needs to have a spiritual order or form to it, or at least some acknowledgement of the immaterial things related to the functioning of earth. So maybe reality would be like, how could I change the matrix to better reflect my true essence? And essentially, as human beings, this is what we're doing. We are acting on behalf of reality, constructing containers for reality to exist in through the containers we already evolved to exist in. And if you think of matrices, the entire process of evolution is a process of creating and revising matrices. I guess you could say in a more subconscious and naturalistic sense, but now that we have more conscious agency to create structures and forms or containers for reality, we can be more intentional and extravagant with that. And we can think about different ways to include the invisible and spiritual development, personal development, the things going on inside in the way that we structure our matrix, and not just value what is material. So I think, I'm getting into future videos here, but I think in order to fully, one, analyze how good or bad, or I would say effective and reflective of the true intention our matrix is, we have to ask the question from not just a material perspective, and we have to see things from a place of utility. It's like, what is the matrix for? What is the matrix trying to do? And this gets down to like the existential questions. Why do we exist? Why are humans here? If we don't understand that, then there's a lot of traps we can fall into. So I would love to hear your comments, your feedback, your questions, your counter arguments, etc. in the comments, and other lenses that you think are useful for viewing matrices, especially those from an artistic background. I think matrices and form and content are very related topics. But also, if we have some STEM folks that want to say something, or if we have some materialists that want to say something, I want to hear all the perspectives, and I want to start the conversation and try to collectively get to the bottom of it, even if it starts with a few viewers on YouTube. And I'll keep making more videos. Thanks for watching.